And welcome back. The issue regarding the reopening of local schools has been passionately debated on all sides. There is no hotter topic of debate within Montgomery County. And recently, emails obtained through the Freedom of Information Act request by Washington Examiner reporter Tim Carney has reopened the debate whether Health Officer Travis Gayles was biased against religious and non-public schools last fall. Mark, what do you know about the issue?
Well, I followed this and have also written about it for the Duck Pen, which is a blog here in Maryland. What's relevant here is that it's very clear from the exchange of email that there was no consideration of the quote science or of the plans that the schools were considering. What Gayles did is basically demonstrated a bias, an antipathy towards the schools and towards the parents and towards those students as being elitist. And there was no consideration. And so, frankly, the good news was he was overruled.
Well, but even in his comments to his colleagues, he does talk about the safety of the students. Don't you think those are legitimate comments?
It was, but what was not done was a careful review of the plans that were being submitted to him about how they intended to reopen, the kind of precautions that they were taking. Now, if we're following the science, then that's precisely what we should do. What we saw was in those emails over and over again from both him and his colleagues, what can only be described as contempt for the parents for not being, public school parents and sending their kids to.
Well, I mean, there were certainly certain comments about the affluent and the privileged coming to bear. Sam, according to the Washington Examiner, personal animus, not science, drove Montgomery County's COVID policy. And is that a fair charge?
That's absolutely not a fair charge. Not a fair charge. I think Mark has done a dynamite job of keeping us safe. And I think that the county council, which is our health commission, has acted very, very well in coordination with Mark, supporting one another to keep us healthy. And I think that all of this stuff starts with, people who had their kids in private school had the tools and the money to set up things in such a way that the kids would be safer. What I find very interesting is that not all of the private schools nor religious organizations felt that way and followed the recommendations of CDC and Dr. Gayles. So, once you blow all this little stuff away, and I consider it minor, what's the bottom line?
Well,
the bottom line, Montgomery County has the lowest infection rate within the entire state of Maryland. We're going to be able to expand. We're going to open for business. Everybody's going to be happy, and nobody's going to be worrying about this little stuff.
Mark.
Let's look at the record, because Gayles was effectively overruled by the governor, by Governor Hogan, in schools and the courts, and he was overruled and the schools opened. So we get to see the results of what their plans were, and it was remarkable success. I think there was exactly one hospitalization as a result of of which are thousands of students that are in the schools. So Gayles's consideration certainly did not do a good job of predicting how successful these schools would be with their plans.
I absolutely agree. I think you're absolutely right. But the bottom line is that everybody here in Montgomery County is healthy. The schools are opening. I think by the end of the year, we're going to have all the kids back in school, in regular school, and we're healthy and we're safer.
Sam, but the big issue is when are we the final issue is when are we going to be able to reopen normally? I mean, if everything is so safe, why won't Mark Elrich move faster to reopen the businesses and allow us to operate without restrictions? If the vaccines work, why not open up?
Mark and the health department administration, which is our county council, all are together in following more conservatively than the CDC guidelines, and the governor, who I don't think did that great a job, especially in the distribution of vaccines and opening up vaccine centers, as Montgomery County has. Yeah. We have the lowest infection rate, and we're opening. All we need at this point in time, and there's a plan, and it's laid out. Half of us now have shots. When it gets up to 60%, Then we're going to open more and more and more. And I believe by July, the county is going to be just the way you want it, Casey, and you can have.
All right, so
everything
Sam, so
you
what
want.
happens when we plateau at 58% fully vaccinated and nobody else wants to do it anymore?
Well, I
Are we
think
gonna shut down again?
no, I think on a show like this, and every public official and everybody who really cares about this should be out there encouraging the rest of our citizens to go out and get vaccinated. Look, I've never seen another county executive go out and encourage people physically on the street. I've never seen another county executive and members of the county council out there encouraging people to get vaccinated. The only way we're going to beat this is to have everybody vaccinated as quickly as possible. And if we can do this, and I think it'll be before July 1, people, especially people who are critics like you, Casey, are going to be very, very happy.
Well, good, because I'm not happy now. Anyway, we got to go on to our next topic.